us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I am 15 this year. I'll be 16 in May, and I'm a student at the Academy of Science and Entrepreneurship. I will be graduating early this spring, and I plan to head to Indiana University in the fall because I'm not ready to leave home yet.
You're ready to graduate, but not leave home.
No.
So what kind of things? So how come you're graduating early? What do you plan? What are your plans when you go to Indiana University?
So I hope to go to IU for a little while, and I'm going to pursue an undergraduate degree in biology, and then I'm probably most likely going to transfer to the University of California, Davis. They have one of the highest rated veterinary schools, and I hope to go into exotic veterinary medicine and work with zoo animals and conservation.
So we invited you here because we wanted to hear a little bit about your experience in MCCSC schools as a student with dyslexia. So if you could tell us a little bit about how you came to find out you had dyslexia and when that happened.
Yeah, so it was actually more kind of my mom than me. At first, she started to realize that while I was doing really well in certain areas like math and science, that in other areas, especially when you're younger and you have spelling tests and stuff like that I was performing really below average. So she started kind of looking into this, like, why is that? Why is this? And she found dyslexia, which seemed like it fit for me. So we actually ended up going and getting tested for dyslexia when I was 10 years old. So I kind of got a little late to the game of figuring it out. So that's kind of how it really happened for me. It was a lot of it my mom and she was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What does this mean for my education? What's going to happen? And I was 10. I was like, oh yeah. But I think the more you kind of understand dyslexia, the less it becomes that sort of like, it's a big thing, I think, to some people. And I think eventually it's just like, yeah, it's something that I have to work harder at different things and do certain things. But other than that, it's just kind of
A part of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so having kind of said that and thought about that, what do you think is really important for other students with dyslexia to understand that was helpful for you? What tips would you give?
I think the number one thing that you kind of have to understand going into it is that dyslexia is something that you're going to have for your whole life. While you might be able to find ways to work around it, it's something that you're always going to have to work at. So whether it's spell checking papers like 4 or 5 times or having someone else read over your grammar, or depending on what you need for your certain dyslexia, that you're always going to have to use those little things. You're always going to have to spend some more time working on things. And I think that's the main thing that students need to understand. Like from the get-go, there's no diagnosis, there's no sort of getting better end goal. You just kind of have to work at it. Yeah.
So what do you think has been really helpful for you in terms of at the Academy and MCCSC schools that the school has done, that teachers have done that have helped you?
Yeah, definitely. I think here there's kind of a few things I think of. One is really how we integrate technology. That really helps someone with dyslexia. I don't have the best handwriting, so it helps when you can type things and it's a little more clear, as well as those spell check and grammar functions that can kind of help fix my writing when there are little mistakes, as well as our Spanish teacher in specific has been very accommodating. And one thing that's very hard is spelling for me personally, and spelling in a foreign language is especially difficult. So I take a lot of my vocabulary tests verbally as well, which is something that's really helped me so that I don't struggle with just that spelling portion and that doesn't weigh me down. I still work on that and that's part of what I do, but mostly my grade is verbally to make sure I just understand it more than can you spell it. And I think that's really important for other teachers to take note of.
That's great. So in kind of saying that, you kind of highlighted some of the challenges you've had, like you talked about Spanish class and the spelling and that weighing you down. What are some other kind of maybe challenges you think that you've been able to kind of overcome that you've had?
Yeah, I think definitely when I was younger, I started out reading was kind of difficult for me. It wasn't as difficult as I think it is with some dyslexic students. But I think the more that I read, I kind of just was able to work through it a little bit. But every once in a while, I still do get kind of tripped up. And it's like, especially if it's, let's say, a book from a longer time period or something around that, those can be a little more difficult. But other than that, spelling and writing are kind of the two big things I personally struggle with. I can't spell to save my life. If you're like, spell this word or, you know, something bad is going to happen. Like, I can just not spell at all. And then, again, with foreign language, it's been really difficult for me personally. So those are really, I think, the things that I struggle most with, but I do know dyslexic students who struggle with other things and different things.
Thank you. So it kind of as a final thing, you mentioned again, and you highlighted this, that foreign language has been a difficult tool for you. And so you mentioned that your Spanish teacher allowed you kind of an accommodation for when you take spelling tests. So that's a great tip, I think, for teachers. Are there other tips or ideas you have for teachers that they maybe should, or things they should be aware of as they're working with students with dyslexia to serve them well?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is attitude. Really understanding what dyslexia is before you talk to dyslexic students, because I think people sometimes do get mistaken with little things, as well as just making sure you encourage students, because like acknowledging that these things are hard and that you need to work through them, because I think sometimes I've had a few teachers who've been kind of negative about it, and I mean, once I kind of was more comfortable with myself, I'm like, that's okay, like whatever, this is just what I'm gonna do. But I think you really, especially with younger students with dyslexia, encouraging them, making them feel like, no, you are the same as everyone else, you just need a little more time to do things and maybe some help with spelling, as well as sort of not focusing as much on those areas. Well, again, like grammar and spelling are important, just making sure that for students with dyslexia, I think especially spelling isn't a huge part of their grade or a huge part of what you focus on, because it is something that students struggle so much with. And I think now as we have more technology, it's something that can be more easily overcome. So that's kind of one of the few big tips I would give to teachers.
Any final thoughts for students or teachers or anything along those lines?
I think mainly is that it's something that's quite easy once you kind of allow a conversation between students and teachers. And if you are a teacher, making sure that you really allow your students to have a voice in what they feel best helps them educate, because I can't speak for all dyslexic people. I know it kind of differs person to person. Some people have more of a difficult time with writing and reading, or some people have difficulties with math sometimes, I've known. So I think really just making sure you talk to students and make sure you know what they specifically need is the best thing that can help students.
That's great. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate you talking with us today.
Well, thank you for talking to me.